Perhaps no single evaluator of talent in the NFL of 1974 believed more strongly in his own expertise than Renegade owner Al Davis. He opted to have his Raider personnel do all their own player grading at a time when most NFL teams were part of cooperative scouting services.
Blesto, Bears, Lions, Eagles, Steelers, that's Blesto. SEPO was Central Eastern Personnel Organization. They were scouting combines. That was part of the mystique of the Raiders. We refused to be part of that.
I always wanted to belong to a combine because I wanted to get as much information on the player as I could. But Mr. Davis, when I was working there, you get the information. That's your job. Don't worry about somebody else's information.
Al trusted his own ability to pick players and find talent. Al was a really good coach before he became an owner.
The great rivalries continue.
And he could look at a player and decide whether this guy could play or whether he couldn't play. And more specifically, could he play for me?
Just win, David.
They had a scouting network that went everywhere. There was a story that someone claimed that they went to the dark side of Africa. The only non-natives they found there were 2 missionaries and a scout from the Oakland Raiders. There may be some truth to that.
They made decisions based upon intelligence as well as, the 40 times. I was never timed in the 40 with the Raiders. I had hamstring problems. They didn't want to time us. They could tell in the practice if you could run fast enough. But they also had to know where you're going to make a mental error. So it was part of their system.
In the Raiders School of Player Grading, Dave Casper scored high marks, even while some of his numbers were not the most impressive.
He wasn't the fastest of guys. He was like a 4.7, but he was one of those guys who knew how to get open.
240-pound tight end Dave Casper was a massive spark plug of the Irish offense.
He had a reputation for not being the most coachable guy. There were some questions about how committed he was to football. But, Al Davis was a guy that was not afraid to take chances on someone.
Many other teams probably wouldn't have picked him in the second round. But that's a perfect example of the Raiders identifying what they wanted for their team and he being a perfect fit.